Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Jatatodayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today we will be discussing about this topic of remembrance from the Navavida Bhakti. Before starting, we'll offer Mangacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Little bit volume you can increase. Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay. So today we are going to discuss on this wonderful topic of Smaranam. So I hope you have been hearing about the Navavida Bhakti and the various angas of devotional service. So this is the third in the number. And the shloka that describes about this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 5th chapter. So where Prahlad Maharaj is telling, Shri Prahlad Uvacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsarpitha Vishno, Bhaktis Chain Navalakshana, Kriyate Bhagavatyadda, Tanmanye Deetamuttamam. So, like Prahlad Maharaj is mentioning that these 9 items, no, iti pumsa arpita Vishnu. So, when like these 9 items are offered, in service of Lord Vishnu, so then, that is called as bhakti. No, बाहर सब्जी बेच रहे थे. So everywhere Shravanam Kirtanam is going on. So, yeah, so Prahlad Maharaj is telling that hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So often we see Srila Prabhupada chastising the modern people, the educated people, as rascals. Rascal means like a person who is ignorant, a person who doesn't know what is what. And here also, like, Hiranyakashipu was chastising Prahlad that where have you, like got this kind of ajnana, so devotion to the Lord and things like that. So then Prahlad Maharaj actually explains that these 9 items, when it is done as a service to Lord Vishnu, so then that is called as, such a person is called as a knowledgeable person. So this is called knowledge, and anything apart from that is like is ignorance. So like to be engaged in the service of the Lord in these 9 items is very, very essential. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also gives the examples of the devotees who perfected their life through these 9 processes. So he cites from Rupa Goswami's composition. He says, Sri Vishnu Shravane Parikshit Abhavad Vaiyasaki Kirtane Prahlada Smarane Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi Pratu Pujane Akrurastva Vivandane Kapipatir Dashyeta Sakya Arjuna Sarvatma Nivedane Bali Rabhu Krishnaptir Esham Param. So Prahlad Maharaj attained salvation simply by hearing, and Shukadev Goswami attained salvation simply by chanting. And Parikshit Maharaj attained salvation by hearing, and Shukadev Goswami by chanting, and Prahlad Maharaj attained salvation by remembering the Lord. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, attained perfection by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, and Prithu Maharaj attained salvation by worshipping the deity of the Lord. And Akrura attained salvation by offering prayers, Hanuman by rendering service, Arjuna by establishing friendship with the Lord, and Bali Maharaj by offering everything to the service of the Lord. So in this way, like these 9 different aspects of devotional service is nicely mentioned here. So now today's topic is Smaranam. So like I was just thinking about how this particular topic is relevant in our execution of Krishna consciousness. So if we see the overall picture, overall scheme of the devotional service, so ultimate goal of rendering all the devotional service is to understand the Supreme Lord and to also develop Krishna prema, and like have intense attachment to the Lord. So that is the ultimate goal of practicing of all of devotional service. And for doing this, so like to attain this goal, so 2 important aspects are there. So we need to understand who we are and who the Lord is, and then know what is our relationship with the Lord, what is our relationship with other part and parcels of the Lord. So all these things have to be clear. So that is called the sambandha. And then in this clarity, executing or the goal, whatever the goal is, wherever we are supposed to reach. So to reach that, there are certain processes that are given, So, and that process includes the Navavida Bhakti, and this Navavida Bhakti coupled with the mood of Sharanagati, that is, with utter dependence on the Lord and with lot of prayer and humility, like trying to please the Lord and trying to attain the Lord. So this is all put together as the process. And in that process, today we are going to see, so one of the aspects of the Navavida Bhakti, that is Smaranam. And always, this Angas of Bhakti are always accompanied with its other important elements that we have just discussed. So that is, the humility, the prayer, and an intense desire to attain the goal. When all these things are coupled together, so then the remembrance actually has a lot of significance. So why the remembrance in itself, why it is not very significant, why one must have an intense desire to attain the goal, why one must know the goal, and why one must know the identification of oneself and the Lord and things like that. So why is it all necessary? So we see that, who all are different people remember the Lord. Even common people, remember the Lord, right? So there are so many people like if you go to Tirupati region or somewhere near to that region, so everybody will be talking about Govinda and things like that. And in South India, so there is lot of bhakti is there. Even wine shop is named as Balaji Wines, Srinivasa Wines. So, and every time the person wants to drink, he remembers the names of the Lord. so where are you going? No, I'm going to Srinivasa. So it is nice remembrance of the Lord, but that kind of a remembrance is not very fruitful. It is somewhat fruitful, but not very fruitful. In fact, in one of the lectures of Srila Prabhupada, he was commenting on one of our famous politician, who at the time of leaving his body, he chanted "Hey Ram." So and Srila Prabhupada says that chanting, he is not going back to Godhead by that chanting. So then Ante Narayana Smriti, that's the ultimate perfection of life. And then he actually remembered the Lord. So then Srila Prabhupada explains, so he had used the names of the Lord for political purposes, which is offensive to the names of the Lord, which is Nama Aparad. So if it is Nama Bas, at least, then a person can get liberation. But if it is Nama Aparad, so then we cannot get liberation, we cannot aim for, or we cannot expect ultimate perfection. So not all remembrance of the Lord is the same. So there is quality of remembrance that is there. So different types of qualities of remembrance, it is there. So initially, when I started practicing Krishna consciousness and understanding this Krishna consciousness, I had an idea that Bhakti Yoga means to remember the Lord, and all other yoga systems, they don't remember the Lord. But then, in one lecture, I heard that what is the duties of a karma yogi. So then it was mentioned, Varanashrama Acharavata Purushena Parapuma Vishnu Aradhyate Panta Na Anyat Tattosha Karana. So this means that karma yoga means to execute Varanashrama duties. And how to execute this Varanashrama duties? For the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So, and Vishnu Aradhyate Panta. Na Anyat Tattosha Karana. There is no other reason other than pleasing the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So then I was in confusion that, I thought this is bhakti. Bhakti means to do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And you say karma yoga is also for the pleasure of Krishna. So then the devotee told that, see, yoga itself means pleasure of Krishna. You either be karma yoga, jnana yoga, or Ashtanga yoga, or Bhakti yoga. Whatever may be the yoga system, all the yoga system is meant for the pleasure of Krishna. So Bhakti yoga means intensely desiring the pleasure of Krishna. And karma yoga means little feebly desiring the pleasure of Krishna, but then ultimate central point is for the satisfaction of Vishnu. That is very, very clear. If all the yoga systems is performed for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So then there is different kinds of remembrance. If you see the karma kanda, what all, or karma yogis, what all things they do. So they do various Vedic rituals and they chant a lot of stotras and mantras and things like that. All of it is composed of Vishnu's names, and everything is composed of Vishnu's name, and then the whole sacrifice, whatever they are doing, everything is for the pleasure of Vishnu, right? So, but then what makes a karma yogi a karma yogi? So he remembers a lot. That's an anga of devotional service. Definitely, that's an anga of devotional service. But that is also, he also has a desire that I execute this, the ritual, and then by the way, I will please the Lord. And after I please the Lord, what next? No, I want some material benefit, right? So I want certain attachment to the results of action or attachment to the actions itself, the karmas, the pious activities itself. So these form two different kinds of karma yoga, right? And then the jnana yogis, they are also like having the remembrance of the Lord. So then, recently in our Bhakti Vaibhav sessions, one of our teachers, Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu, so he was mentioning that there are 30 different duties every human being must perform. So in that, 9 of them are the Snavavidha Bhakti, so and then 21 of them are the duties of jnana. There are like different duties of jnana is there. So that must be practiced. And then on top of it, if somebody performs the varnashrama duties, so then he is called karma yogi. And if he leaves varnashrama duties, he only focuses on the 21 and 9, so that 30. So then he is called jnana yogi. If he leaves the jnana duties also and exclusively focuses on Navavidha Bhakti, then he is called Bhakti Yogi. So Bhakti Yoga is supposed to be performed by all the people. Karma Yogis also must do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. And Jnana Yogis also must do. And Bhakti Yogis exclusively must do. Right? So that's how this one is. The remembrance of the Lord is a part of the life. So then it is like a little bit of, the intensity is not that great. So then it takes different shapes and different forms of the yoga system. And then if the remembrance is very intense, then it actually becomes the Bhakti yoga, right? So ordinary persons also remembers, and the different kinds of yogis also remember. So in fact, the yogi, Ashtanga yogi, he meditates on the form of the Lord. So the 8 inches or 9 inches, how much it is? 9 inches, tall form of the Lord in the heart, So he meditates on. This looks like a bhakti yoga, right? So, but then he has a desire for achieving, some other purpose, because
car has to be 7175.
7175 car has to be removed. Okay, thank you. So now, so these different kinds of remembrances are there. And so when it becomes condensed and when it is for the, when the duration of remembrance is more, so then, that is one of the parameters which qualify as Bhakti Yoga. And then exclusive desire to please the Lord and nothing else, apart from that. So then also it is qualified as Bhakti Yoga. And then the intensity of remembrance, when it increases, and coupled with no exclusive desire to please the Lord, so then it becomes not qualified as Bhakti Yoga. And now we are seeing so today's discussion, I divided it into 4 parts. So one is what is the remembrance? What it means, the Smaranam of the Lord. So I just got one quote of Srila Prabhupada from one of the purports of Srila Prabhupada. And then importance of remembrance and process of remembrance and glories of such remembrance. These are all different things that we will see today. So I have selected few shlokas, and from those shlokas itself, these 4 or 5 different categories of sections, I was dividing. So this is in the this where the Navavidha Bhakti is described, the 7th canto, 5th chapter, shlokas 23 and 24. That's where Prahlad Maharaj is describing about this Navavidha Bhakti. And there, each and every aspects are very nicely described. Prabhupada gives an elaborate purport. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 pages. He gives huge purport. So, and here in the discussion of Smaranam, so Prabhupada writes one particular section. So there he defines what is this remembrance. So he says, according to the different relationship and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. So these are as follows. So first is conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord, concentrating the mind on the subject, and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from all other subjects. So this is technically, Krishna also mentions this as a two important principle. He mentions abhyasa and vairagya. So like whenever we make a practice in Krishna consciousness, these two things are very essential. So it is just like if you have a wood and if you're trying to light fire to the wood, and simultaneously if you put water, then the wood is not going to catch fire. So there is two things that is needed. So one is our endeavor to light the fire, and another is the endeavor to keep the wood dry. These two things are very essential. So when we do these two things simultaneously, so then we will be successful. So sometimes devotees actually practice the Navavida Bhakti, but then also along with that, so they don't give up the like association with the material things, or remembrance of the material things, or indulgence in the material things. So then what happens? So it is like lighting the fire and then pouring water. No, it is not going to have a tangible effect. It's not going to have a very serious effect. It'll be seen that we are not making tangible progress in Krishna consciousness, right? So we are trying to focus on the Navavida Bhakti, and then we are also relishing some material subjects. So then it becomes a problem. So that is why this Vairagya and Abhyasa, so these two are two very important tracks on which the train of devotional service actually can go. So these two are very essential. So in that way, like this remembrance, the devotional service of remembrance, very nicely put in the second point of remembrance, that is called concentrating the mind on one subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from all other subjects. So that means thinking, feeling, and willing is invested in one subject. Then it is nicely called remembrance, right? And then third point is concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord. This is also called as meditation. And then fourth point is concentrating one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord. This is called Dhruvanusmriti, or perfect meditation. And fifth point is awakening a liking for concentration upon a particular form. So one is like, as a regulative principle, we are trying to focus upon, and the regulation over a period of time, it just transforms into a liking. The yogi starts feeling nice to remember the Lord. So then it becomes like very nice. So that is called samadhi. So these are all different ways in which actually we can remember the Lord. So that's which is there in the purport. These 5 points. So this 5 points is A, that is conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord. And B, or second point, is concentrating the mind on one subject and withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from all other subjects, and concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord, and then concentrating one's mind continuously on the particular form of the Lord. And fifth is awakening a liking for such a concentration. So like that's a progressive degrees of definition of this remembrance of the Lord. So that is there. So in the shlokas that I had selected, so I could find only this as the definition. So there could be many other definitions that is possible, like that Srila Prabhupada has given. So in this, the one of the natural shlokas that I selected was the shlokas which describe the Navavida Bhakti itself, that is 7, 5, 23 to 24. So then after that, I selected few other shlokas. So so the importance, now we go to the next topic. So first topic that we discussed, initial topic that we discussed was what is the role of remembrance in the whole scheme of devotional service. And then now we discussed about what is remembrance itself. And now we'll be seeing the importance of remembrance. Why is it so important? So when I was thinking about it, so the quite often quoted shloka, so that we often hear in the lectures, so that shloka, it came to my mind. So then I thought of discussing about that shloka. So this is Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedashur etayor eva kinkara. So what is the importance of remembrance? It is such an important topic that sarve vidhi nishedashur etayor eva kinkara. So the Vedic scriptures, it is composed of, the Vedic scriptures can be defined in different ways. One way of definition is Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. So then another way of definition is mentioned here, vidhi and nisheda, no, do's and don'ts. The Vedic scriptures contain a body of do's and don'ts. So what is the purpose of all these do's and don'ts? The purpose is smartavya satatam Vishnu. Always remember Krishna or Vishnu, and vismartavya na jatuchit. No, never forget the Supreme Lord at any point in time. So this is something that is, this shloka is there from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in the purport it is mentioned. This verse is a quotation from Padma Purana. There are many regulative principles in the Shastras and directions given by the spiritual master. These regulative principles should act as servant of the basic principle. And what is that basic principle? That is, one should always remember Krishna and never forget him. No, this is such an important, this one, Anga of Bhakti. So all the other aspects of the scriptures are pointing to this one aspect, that is always remember Krishna. So that is the importance of this particular this one. And then in Nectar of Instruction, in the Shloka 1, so Srila Prabhupada citing his spiritual master's commentary, so he gives certain importance of this aspect of remembrance. So that is in his Anuvritti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes that our material identification creates three kinds of urges. That is urge to speak, and the urge or demand of the mind, and the demand of the body, right? So these are the three things, body, mind, and words. Always we hear about like a sannyasi means, who is a sannyasi? Who applies the body, mind, and words completely in the service of the Lord. So then he is called a sannyasi. And here, so Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving an explanation of how this body, mind, and words also has urges, and when these urges are in the material side, so then it is called then that actually creates the material body, so or material identification. And here Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling that one who is able to control these urges, he is called a tapasvi, and one should be a tapasvi, right? So tapasvi means who is not like saying yes to the demands of the body, saying yes to the demands of the mind, and saying yes to the demands of urge to speak, right? So he is called a tapasvi. The modern world, it is all about why should you control your desires? Why should you control your urges? It is quite natural. Be natural. Why are you so artificial? So if they see a devotee, they will say like, why are you so artificial? Are you not having any material desires? Kyun isna daba ke kyun like devotional service kar raha hai? So be natural and just unleash your desires. So when is the time we are asked to not to follow our desires? In the material life also, like people sometimes they control their desires. Which is the period when they are asked to control their desires? They like to eat something, but they are not allowed to eat. And they follow that also. If it is coming from a particular source, they follow that also with great difficulty. Huh? When we are sick and when the doctor says you should not, so then it must be followed, right? So like diabetes patient, he is told he should not eat sweet, and he likes to eat, but he should not eat. So why at the time can we not apply this principle? Just why are you artificial? Like just be natural. Just eat sweet to your heart's content, and mar jao. So exactly that is what is mentioned. Like Krishna also mentioning in Bhagavad Gita that the living entities in this world, we are all having bhava roga, material disease. And it is not our role is not to just unleash our senses. Our role is to control the senses and regulate the senses. That is what is our role. That is very, very essential. And the mind's demand is like, it will go and think of so many different things. And the person must be tapasvi, and he should control the mind's demands. It is very, very essential subject. The remembrance of the Lord. If remembrance of the Lord is not there, naturally we will remember the material subjects. And if we remember material subjects, so then that is like getting into a sick person or a diabetes person eating sweet, like that. So tapasvi means he should practice to remember the Lord, right? And then in Nectar of Instruction, shloka number 8, there is a few other nice aspects that Srila Prabhupada mentions. So he says, since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. The mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions, not only this life, but also of many, many other lives in the past. These impressions sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, the mind's function can be dangerous for a conditioned soul. The student of psychology are aware of the mind's various psychological changes, and Srila Prabhupada quotes, Yammam vapi saran vavam, tyajatante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya tada sadbhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits the body, that state he will attain without fail. This is something that Srila Prabhupada mentions, that if you just leave the mind, then it can just wander everywhere and it can just pick up impressions, just like that, from anywhere. And all these impressions put together, it can become dangerous to the living entity, right? So because if not for Krishna, so all other impressions are going to create some kind of unfavorable influence on us, and it is going to inspire either two things that are there in this material world: association with matter or association with Krishna. Association with matter will make us more addicted to matter, and association with Krishna will make us more addicted to Krishna. That's how it functions. So if we don't make our senses immune, if we don't make our senses immune by the way of thinking of the Lord, कोई तो बहुत परेशान है. So if we don't make our mind accustomed and immune by thinking about the Lord, so then we will be like the next only option that is available is exposure of matter. So like that is sufficiently available in Kali Yuga. So you just step out, then there is sufficient subject matter of the Maya is there to actually create impression in our mind and then spoil our whole existence. So, and then Srila Prabhupada also mentions to the purport to this Anta Kalecha Mameva Smaran Mukta Kalevaram. So, in that, okay, so the shloka itself is very nice. So, in that, it is mentioned, and whoever at the end of life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. So, this remembrance of the Lord, like we spoke about some time back, so there is a quality to this remembrance of the Lord. So, that is like in a favorable way, without committing any offenses. That kind of a remembrance only is qualified. So it is, one may say like, the shloka is not talking about that. The shloka is just telling, just, antakale chamam eva smaran mukta kalevaram. So, iya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samsaya. There is no doubt at all. If somebody remembers me at the end of life, there is no doubt at all he will attain my nature. So then, we are trying to add more elements to this statement of Krishna. That is not presenting things as it is, right? So, Krishna is telling just remembrance and it should be fine. So then, why are we adding the extra subjects to this? She said Srila Prabhupada is not presenting as it is. So the subject is that when we study the scriptures, so we should see in that particular subject matter what the scriptures talk about that particular subject matter in totality. We should take. So we should not take one subject. Okay, just remembrance of the Lord, everything is done. So we should not be like that. So remembrance of the Lord, regarding that, whatever is spoken about, all of it is true, and all of it and totality we should follow, not that one statement exclusively. So then it doesn't make sense, right? So like that's how the Vaishnavas actually take the scriptures. So Mayavad philosophers, they take certain statements of the scriptures as Mahavakya. Certain statements of scriptures as very important and very special, and certain other statements of the scriptures is not very important. So like these statements are very important. So like that they give undue importance to certain section of the scriptures, and because of which they actually commit offense towards the scriptures. So in that way, like we the Vaishnavas don't do like that. So the Vaishnavas give equal importance to all the statements of the scriptures, right? So then somebody may say like Arjuna was speaking from the scriptures in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he was telling that why fighting is wrong, and he is quoting perfectly from the scriptures. So then why Krishna told that is wrong? That is another this one. Some portion of the scriptures, we say, okay, this is karma kanda. This has less importance, and jnana, the instructions regarding jnana has more importance, and the instruction regarding bhakti is more importance. So now we are also dividing scriptures, and certain statements of scriptures is very special, and certain other statements of scriptures are not very special. That's a problem. तो हम भी मायावती बन गए. No, we give importance based on the definition of the scriptures itself. No, scriptures themselves define like this. No, scriptures themselves, when Krishna is telling that, he explains karma yoga, jnana yoga, and things like that, and he himself says, no, give this up. No, and like what is that? Like come above these. This one, you remember that shloka? Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Traigunya Vishayo Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Right? So Krishna himself mentions. So that, the Vedas are discussing about the subject of karma elaborately, and that deals with three modes of nature. And you come above these three modes of nature. Come to a transcendental platform. At least come to the platform of jnana or bhakti. So that is something good. Don't be there in the platform of karma. That is something that Krishna mentions. So that is, the scriptures themselves mention, this particular portion is important in this way, and this particular portion is important in a different way, right? So in that way, like, the bhakti yogis, what do they do? Like if we have to practice bhakti yoga, that is, the now with the bhakti, so we cannot practice all the time. So then we'll be able to practice, okay, 16 rounds of chanting we can do. So then after that, a little bit deity worship we can do, take prasadam, all these things we can do. So, but throughout the day I cannot do. So most of the devotees' condition is like that. So then what should we do? Rest of the time, what should we do? So we should not, karma yoga is like, we told, oh, this is like very, very bad. No, we should give it up. Krishna has told, sarva dharman parityajya. So we should give up karma yoga. So then what else we should do? So then only adharma is left. We can do only adharma. So no, it is not like that. So we should do bhakti yoga as much as possible, as much time as possible we should do. And if we cannot do bhakti yoga all the time, so then the natural option is the practice of jnana. If we cannot do that also, then the natural option is we should do karma. The karma yoga is following the varnashrama duties. So like, legitimately, like maintaining a family, and then having earning, which is not earned in a impious means, like, by a dharmic way. We should earn our livelihood, and we should conduct our family life in that particular way. So following the varnashrama duties, in that way. So that is very essential. So we are not giving up the karma, like we are saying bhakti is the topmost. So, but then if we cannot do that, then this is what we will do. So it is not that it is not important. It is important in the place of, if we cannot do bhakti completely, so then we have to substitute it with karma yoga, right? So that is the natural option. That's the dharmic option that we have, right? So in that way, like, the devotees of the Lord, so they don't appreciate certain portion of the scriptures. Undue appreciation of certain portion of the scriptures is not given. All the aspects of the scriptures are equally weighted and then followed. So in that way, like here, this aspect of Ante Narayana Smriti, so that is very, that has to be qualified with other statements of the scriptures itself. That is like not offensive, without non-offensive remembrance of the Lord, and then the intensity of remembrance of the Lord. All these things are also actually matters in this particular connection. And then in that purport to that particular shloka, Srila Prabhupada mentions, if one wants to achieve success in the end of the life, the process of remembering Krishna is essential. It is very, very essential. Srila Prabhupada makes it very emphatic. And then another shloka, so yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, so that already we discussed that shloka. And then there is another shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam 215 and 216. These two are very nice shlokas. So tasmad bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro harihi shrotavya kirtitavyascha smartavya chechatam bhayam. So it is mentioned, O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller of controller and the savior from all miseries. So if at all one want to get freedom from the miseries of life, so Shravanam and Kirtanam, so last two classes you have heard, and remembrance also is added. No, so these things have to be done. So then, so one can be saved from the greatest danger of life. No, and then no 216, like it is mentioned, etavan sankhya yogebhyam swadharma nishtitaya janma Labha Parapumsan Ante Narayana Smriti. No, here Ante Narayana Smriti is mentioned. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, or by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. No, here it is very nicely mentioned. Either you do karma yoga, jnana yoga, or dhyana yoga. So that means like no, either you achieve the perfection by understanding no spirit and matter, or no by practice of mystic powers, or by discharging occupational duties. No, like that is jnana, yoga, and like karma. So any path you want, you take, but the qualifying factor is no, at the end of the life, no, you should remember the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada used to cite a Bengali proverb. What is that proverb? Like no, last में पता चलेगा. हाँ, मरते जान ले भाई. हाँ, भजन करो, साधन करो, मरते जान ले भाई. Means you do your bhajan and sadhan, no, but the result of it will be no understood at the time of death. No, if you are able to remember the Lord, then all that you have done bhajan sadhan, no, it has borne it has beared its results. No. So, but if you say like, no, Prabhuji, like, no, I chanted 16 rounds, I did all the things, no, I did reading, hearing, all sadhana chart, everything I filled. So then the answer is what? No, will I be able to no get perfection? तो मरते वक्त पता चलेगा. So that is the answer. No? So what quality of bhajan that you have done, so that मरते वक्त पता चलेगा. So what we are able to remember, right? So we did parrot sadhana or we did devotee sadhana, we will get to know. No. So parrot also does sadhana. No, it can be trained to chant the names of the Lord, but at the time of death, it will no only be able to chant ki ki ki, no things like that. So, but a devotee will be able to remember the Lord. No, so the externals. So we cannot just simply go by the externals. The internals. No, what is the internals is happening. So is he actually be able to remember the Lord? No, that's something very important. And then in the same purport, it is mentioned the speculation of empiric philosophy, which discerns matter from spirit, that is jnana yoga, or by cultivation of mystic powers, that is ashtanga yoga, and which ultimately helps the performer to reach any planet of the universe, no, or beyond the universe, or by discharge of religious duties. No, that is either jnana or ashtanga, or by karma. No, so what is the result that needs to be achieved? One can achieve the highest perfection, provided one is able to reach to the stage of Narayana Smriti, or constant remembrance of the personality of Godhead. So Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada, no, is like very, very this one. It's not that there are cases where no, they emphasize on Bhakti Yoga, and there are cases where they are like no completely open-minded. No, you follow any path you want. Karma Yoga you follow, Jnana Yoga you follow, any path you follow, it doesn't matter. The perfection is continuous remembrance of Lord Narayana. If you can come to that perfection, then it is ultimate. No, and in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, no, we have a shloka like that. Dharma swanishtita pumsam vishvakshena kathashriya no pade dediratim no shamayevahi kevalam. So like you perform any dharma you want. That's okay. But then the result is intense attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord, no, intense attraction to the Lord. If you can get that, so then whatever you are following is 100% perfect. No, just follow it. So, and later on they say like only through Bhakti Yoga you will get this. You know, please follow Bhakti Yoga. You know, so like we are not very fanatic about our process itself, but we are fanatic about the goal. The goal is to attain intense devotion to the Supreme Lord. So everyone is anxious to achieve the highest perfection of in his activity, and it is indicated herein that such perfection is Narayana Smriti. No, the perfection is the remembrance of the Lord, for which everyone must endeavor his best. In other words, life should be molded in such a way, in such a manner that one is able to progressively remember the personality of God in every step of life. So this is the this one that is mentioned, that ultimate perfection is Narayana Smriti, and like life should be molded in such a way that progressive intensity of this remembrance actually grows. No, that is the like ultimate aspect. So these are all some aspects of the remembrance or importance of the remembrance of the Lord. So that I picked up from these shlokas. So now we will see the very same set of shlokas. So in that I have selected some portions of purport as the process of getting this remembrance. No, like how we can actually get this remembrance. So like. In the first sloka that we discussed, Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyam na Jatachit, Sarve Vidhi Nishedashu Retayo Reva Kinkara. So in that, so Srila Prabhupada is mercifully writing a nice elaborate process. So this is like very nice process. So we can just focus upon this. So he says, this is possible, this remembrance is possible when one chants Hare Krishna mantra. So therefore, one must strictly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 24 hours daily. No, so Srila Prabhupada is telling like, no, one should strictly chant 24 hours daily. So then, okay, this may be like little later goal, so but we should aspire for it. And then one may have other duties to perform under the direction of the spiritual master. So this is natural, like, no, we can say like 24 hours chanting hi karte rahenge to baki seva kya hoga. So then Prabhupada is qualifying it, no? So one may have to perform other duties also under the direction of spiritual master, but he must first abide by the spiritual master's order to chant a certain number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have recommended that the neophytes chant at least 16 rounds. This chanting of 16 rounds is absolutely necessary if one wants to remember Krishna and not forget him. Of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. So like here, Srila Prabhupada actually qualifies. No, he has given many instructions for the advancement in Krishna consciousness. There he specifically picks and chooses and qualifies this chanting of 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra is the most important instruction of the spiritual master. In fact, I was reading from one book that is, I don't know if it is from that book, like it is a remembrance of Srila Prabhupada. So it is recounted. So one of the sannyasis, he actually remembers, like about one god brother of Srila Prabhupada. So that is, I think, Krishnadas Babaji, if I'm not wrong. So and like during the like final this one's samadhi rites when it is performed of Srila Prabhupada disappearance festivals festival, the first disappearance festival when it's performed. So that time this Babaji Maharaj actually comes to attend the festival. Many of Srila Prabhupada's god brothers they actually came to attend the festival. So and there this Babaji Maharaj says to the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, you don't know who your spiritual master is. And then the disciples start like, so we know our spiritual master, we know Srila Prabhupada, we have lived with him and we have served him and we know him. So, but then Babaji Maharaj told that, he is the greatest, something to this effect, he is the greatest ambassador of this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, or like he is the greatest person who has intense faith. Nobody has such a faith as Srila Prabhupada has, in the holy name. And we can see that, like, Srila Prabhupada did this magic. So many people took to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, just by his presentation of the philosophy and presentation of this science of Krishna consciousness. So many people actually took it up. And this Babaji Maharaj, he is a person who chants, maybe 192 rounds or 126 rounds, something like that, And Srila Prabhupada, externally speaking, like many times, like he chanted 16 rounds or maybe 32 rounds or something like that, and many times like he chanted 64 as well. But somebody would say like, Babaji Maharaj is chanting like so many rounds. He has so much of faith in the names of the Lord. So, but then, Babaji Maharaj actually qualified this particular statement. So, the faith that one has in the holy name of the Lord, can be tested by how many people actually take to pure chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So, and Srila Prabhupada made that magic, of like so many people took up to the pure chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So that is very amazing. Like Srila Prabhupada had this real faith in this particular aspect, that this chanting of the names of the Lord is the most essential subject. Though we are discussing about Smarana, and the shlokas which talk about the Smarana, so even there Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing about Kirtana. We cannot help but speak about that subject. In fact, when we were discussing about this prayers of Kunti Maharani, so in one of the shlokas in the prayers of Kunti Maharani, like Srila Prabhupada writes a wonderful purport. So there he says that this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these now the bhakti. So any one of the angas, if a person performs well, he can attain perfection. But before he embarks into this specialization, one has to do his Shravanam and Kirtanam very, very solidly. Just like in the engineering college, first year, all the branches will do the same thing. So like that, here also in the devotional college, initial stages is like all the students are going to do the same thing, that is Shravanam and Kirtanam. There is no different processes. So then later on, one can take on to the process of Smaranam, one can take on to the process of different things. But the initial and the most important subject, which is uncompromised, that is the Shravanam and Kirtanam, right? So then it develops into Smaranam. So then Srila Prabhupada continues in the same purport. One may sell books or enlist life members or render some other service. But these duties are not ordinary duties. These duties serve as an impetus for remembering Krishna. When one goes with a Sankirtan party or sells books, he naturally remembers that he is going to sell Krishna's books. In this way, he is remembering Krishna. When one goes to enlist a life member, he talks about Krishna and thereby remembers him. Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit. So the conclusion is that one must act in such a way that he will always remember Krishna. One must refrain from doing things that make him forget Krishna. These two principles form the basic background of Krishna consciousness. So in this, we had a tough problem. So in the book marathon, so like our boys, the IVF devotees, they were going every day, like for many hours, they were going out for book distribution. And so one complaint that came was that when we are there in the street, we have to see so many different things and we get contaminated. Our chanting is not going well, and then our we get so much distracted in our daily practice. So then we were thinking of, okay, so we thought of in between the marathon also, some intense dosage of Shravanam. So we introduced. And here what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning is also very, very essential. So when we do this devotional service along with remembrance of the Lord, so then that devotional service is like bearing its fruit. Then we are rightly doing the devotional service. So then we are rightly distributing the books because it is invoking the remembrance of the Lord. Otherwise, we have to take a little pause, open the book, read a little bit, and nourish ourselves, and then again do the distribution. This is always, I always used to tell this particular point that in the cooking, like fire is there, the food stuff is there, all the vegetables and grains is there. So, but one very important thing is necessary. So sufficient quantity of water is necessary. Otherwise, what will happen? It will get burnt out. So like in the devotional service, whenever we are doing devotional service, there is sufficient remembrance of the Lord is necessary. Without that, we will get burnt out. So this sign of burnt out means like we are doing devotional service without sufficient remembrance of the Lord. So it's like we are doing cooking without sufficient water. So like, jarur jalega actually. So that is the key point, that sufficient remembrance of the Lord is essential actually. And then, so in the shloka that is talking about this Navavidha Bhakti, where Prahlad Maharaj is talking about it, so Srila Prabhupada gives certain process, how to actually develop this Smaranam. So now, in the first, this one, so we discussed about chanting of 16 rounds being a core activity, the quality of chanting and hearing the names of the Lord, that makes a core, this one for remembrance. And then the second thing is about whichever activity of devotional service that we may do, so distributing books or fundraising or any activity or temple hall cleaning or whatever activity we may do, so we should remember that I'm doing it for the Lord. So when we do that in that way, so then it enhances our remembrance and then it also nourishes us. Right? So these two things that Srila Prabhupada mentions in that purport. And now we come to the purport of the Prahlad Maharaj's shloka, this Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho. So in that shloka, Srila Prabhupada actually explains every anga of bhakti individually. So in that Smaranam, Srila Prabhupada explains, after one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam, remembering, is recommended. No, so this is how the practice actually goes. So as we discussed, just like in engineering college, the first year is like the same syllabus. In the same way, here also, first year, not first year, like first maybe few years till the time heart gets cleansed. So then the essential subject is the Shravanam and Kirtanam, right? So then after that, Smaranam is recommended. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, Etavan nirvidyamananam ichchatam akuto bayam yoginam nripanirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. O King, for great yogis who have completely renounced all material connections, for those who desire all material enjoyments, and for those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge, constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord is recommended. So here also the emphasis on the constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord and the glories of the Lord as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we constantly hear and chant about these subjects, then the remembrance actually occurs. So So then the nectar of instruction, the first shloka, Srila Prabhupada gives certain nice tips for remembrance of the Lord. So there he mentions the restlessness or fickleness of the mind, that is manovega, is controlled when one fixes the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai andakar, yahan Krishna taha nahi Maya radhikar. So Krishna is just like sun and Maya is just like darkness. If the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, then there is no possibility of mind being agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of negating all material thoughts will not help. So to try to create vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum will not remain. However, if one always thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one's mind will naturally be controlled. So these two things he mentions in Nectar of Instruction. So that is thinking about the lotus feet of the Lord and also thinking about how to please Krishna and how to serve Krishna best. These two things he mentions. So one nice thing that Srila Prabhupada mentions in his lectures, he mentions that there is so many attractive things are there in this material world and it is constantly captivating us, right? So then what should one do? So one should try to do a very important habit. So that is nicely decorate the deities of the Lord and then take darshan of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada recommends that if we at all are attracted to the material beauty, beauty of this beautiful objects of this material world, so then one must nicely decorate the deities and one must nicely take darshan of the Lord. So, and taking darshan of the Lord, one very important aspect of darshan of the Lord is meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, right? So this is something that Srila Prabhupada constantly and systematically, like he presents in many, many different places. And citing the reference of Ambarish Maharaj, he mentions that Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor. So the mind being absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord, especially at the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is a direction that Srila Prabhupada gives, right? So we follow that. And then we have the next, this one, Nectar of Instruction, shloka number 8. There also, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives some nice tips for mind control or remembrance of the Lord. So at the time of death, the mind and intelligence of a living entity creates the subtle form of a certain type of body for the next life. If the mind suddenly thinks of something not very congenial, one has to take to corresponding birth in the next life. On the other hand, if one can think of Krishna at the time of death, he can be transferred to the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. This process of transmigration is very subtle. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami advises devotees to train their mind in order that they will be able to, in order that they will be unable to remember anything other than Krishna. So this is something that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. So previously he was mentioning about chanting and constant practice of chanting. And here also this particular aspect is mentioned that one has to go through a systematic training for attaining this one. So it is not that few days, I will just chant and I will get remembrance of the Lord. So maybe it is possible if we have such intense chanting, but generally it is not possible. Generally it requires a very good training, that is very essential. So then in the same purport, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions very, very amazing purport it is. Like it gives solid understanding about the whole progress of Krishna consciousness. No, please hear carefully this particular purport. He mentions, in the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Shravana Dasha. No, this time period in the beginning phase of the Krishna consciousness, the time period itself is categorized as Shravana Dasha. No, so it is a stage of hearing, and by constant hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna and hearing of his transcendental form, qualities, and pastimes, one can attain the stage of acceptance, which is called Varana Dasha. So that means like he gets what is it? He starts developing some bit of taste, not the stage of ruchi, but then some bit of taste. And when one attains this stage, he becomes attached to hearing of Krishna Katha. So when one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of Smarana Avasthas, the stage of remembering. And recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance are the 5 items of progressive Krishna Smarana. So that we discussed in the first also. So, at first, the remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later remembrance proceed uninterrupted. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and it is called meditation. When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti. By uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters into the stage of samadhi or spiritual trance. After the Smarana Dasha or samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand the original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. This is called Sampati Dasha and the perfection of life, right? So here, it is mentioned about that we understanding the relationship of Krishna, our relationship with Krishna, only at a very, very high stage. So now also we understand the relationship with Krishna. So what is our understanding? Krishna is master and we are servant. No, that's a very fair and good understanding that we have about our relationship with Krishna, and that is perfect. And then when we progress, so the conclusions of Krishna consciousness, what we know, it is not going to change, but the definitions are going to become deeper and deeper. So what we know of as hearing, in the sadhana stage and in the perfected stage, so hearing is the same thing, but then the hearing is going to become deeper and deeper. The remembrance, the same remembrance is there even now and in the perfected stage. So, but it is going to become more deeper and condensed and uninterrupted, in the later point in time, right? So in the same way, like understanding our relationship with Krishna, so now also we understand our relationship with Krishna, and in the perfection stage also we understand our relationship with Krishna. But both of them have its difference. Now I have very very superficial, or maybe a light, we cannot say superficial, or we have a lesser degree of understanding of our relationship with Krishna, and in the perfectional stage we will have more greater degree of understanding of our relationship with Krishna, right? So in this way, we have the degrees, the progress of degree is very, very essential. And then I have few more purports to cover. Okay, only 2-3 more is there, so we will quickly cover that. So this is Anta Kalecha Mameva Smaran Mukta Kalevaram. So in that purport, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions, in this verse, the importance of Krishna consciousness is stressed. That is, remembrance of Krishna is stressed. Anyone who quits his body in Krishna consciousness is at once transferred to the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the purest of pure. Therefore, anyone who is constantly Krishna conscious is also purest of the pure. The word Smaran, remembering, is important. The remembrance of Krishna is not possible for the impure soul who has not practiced Krishna consciousness in devotional service. Therefore, one should practice Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life. So this is another important tip that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. The remembrance itself is a nice devotional service. That is, if we do nice Shravanam and Kirtanam, we will have remembrance. So, but then here Srila Prabhupada is focusing on remembrance at the point of death. So if we have to at all remember at the point of death, so then what we are supposed to do, we should have a practice of remembering the Lord throughout our life. It is not just going to happen just at the point of death. Suddenly it's going to happen. So then, Srila Prabhupada writes, therefore one should constantly, incessantly chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya has advised that one be as tolerant as a tree, Trinadapi Sunichena. There may be so many impediments for a person who's chanting the Hare Krishna. Nonetheless, tolerating all these impediments, one should continue to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, so that at the end of life, one can have full benefit of Krishna consciousness. So there are certain nice purports where Srila Prabhupada is putting whole Hare Krishna mantra 2 times, 3 times, like that. So now this is one of the purports. So in this purport we saw a lifelong practice is essential, and another important aspect that Srila Prabhupada mentions is humility. Practice of humility is very essential. If we don't practice humility, our remembrance will always be hampered. We will not be able to remember constantly. We will not be able to chant constantly, and we will not be able to remember constantly. And then in the Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Shloka, Srila Prabhupada actually gives a nice purport. So I was trying to take some portion of the purport. The whole purport itself is so nice. So, but then I will just highlight few aspects from the purport. So how can one die in proper state of mind? And Srila Prabhupada says, one's thought during the course of one's life accumulate to influence one's thought at the moment of death. So this life creates the next life. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions that, okay, you practiced remembrance of the Lord, but simultaneously you also practiced remembrance of material things. So then Abhyasa was there, but Vairagya was not there. So then what happens? So all the thoughts that you have cultivated will have its impact on the time of death. Right? So it is not that all the good things I did, only that will have impact. No, all the good and bad, everything that I did, all of it will have the impact at the time of death. That is why Krishna also mentions Abhyasa and Vairagya. This is very, very essential. So a sincere practitioner of Krishna consciousness, he should not only just do the Abhyasa, he should also do the Vairagya. He should also keep himself away from the material exposure. Right? And then Srila Prabhupada mentions in this second canto, first chapter, fifth shloka. So in the purport, one nice section that was there regarding the practice of remembrance. Therefore, one should first of all hear about the Lord. When one has perfectly and scrutinizingly heard, one must glorify his acts and deeds. And thus it will become possible to remember constantly the transcendental nature of the Lord. Hearing about and glorifying the Lord are identical with the transcendental nature of the Lord, and by doing so, one will always be in association of the Lord. This brings freedom from all sorts of fear. Here again, the same point is reiterated by Srila Prabhupada. When we scrutinizingly and perfectly hear, so then we get the qualification to speak about the Lord and glorify the Lord. And when we hear the Lord, hear about the Lord and glorify the Lord, so then we will get the remembrance of the Lord. Thank you. So this is the amazing aspect. It's like this, we can see from all these purports, how Srila Prabhupada has been consistent. Because Srila Prabhupada is not giving some his own mind story. He is giving the Shastri conclusions, and that must be consistent. So so then in the next shloka, 216, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions some nice aspects in the purport. The existence of Narayana, or the personality of Godhead, is not within the jurisdiction of Mahatattva. As such, the name, fame, form, attributes, etc. of Narayana are beyond the jurisdictions of the material world. This is possible, or the remembrance of such transcendental, transcendental nature of the Lord, that is Narayana Smriti, Ante Narayana Smriti, it is possible. How is it possible? So this is possible only by the association of a pure devotee, who can give a finishing touch to the transcendental activities of jnanis, yogis, or karmis in terms of the prescribed duties defined in the scriptures. So, one may perform the prescribed duties and be a karma yogi, or one may practice the jnana yoga, or one may practice ashtanga yoga, whatever he may do. But this uninterrupted remembrance of the Lord is possible only by the association of a pure devotee of the Lord. That is highlighted in this aspect. So this is a new point that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. He mentioned about hearing and chanting. It actually infuses the remembrance. And then he also mentioned about this should be regulated and it should be practiced throughout the life, and a proper training is necessary. And then he also mentioned about the humility, and now he's mentioning about like association of a pure devotee who has the remembrance of the Lord. No, so when we do that, so then remembrance of the Lord becomes easier, right? So these are all the various aspects in terms of the process or how we can actually get the remembrance, and just two shlokas in connection to the glories of remembrance. So like now here in Srimad Bhagavatam 8:10:55, in that shloka, it is mentioned, as the dangers of the dream cease, when the dreamer awakens, the illusion created by the jugglery of the demons were vanquished by the transcendental prowess of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as soon as he entered the battlefield. Indeed, simply by the remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from all dangers. So this final statement is very amazing. Simply by remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from all dangers. Now this is after Samudra Manthan pastime. So like the demons and the demigods, like they got this nectar. So once the nectar is got, so like the Dhanvantri, he actually presented the nectar to the Devatas. But then the demons, they thought like, hum bhi parishram kiye, like, so like we are also like, we also put a lot of effort for getting this nectar. Why should the demigods have it? So immediately they snatched it, and they snatched it. And then after that, the Lord had to appear as Mohini. And then, he has to cheat the demons and bring the nectar to the demigods. And then, because they were cheated, so like it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that the demigods, they drank nectar, and nectar, after drinking nectar, they become powerful. But then the demons felt cheated. That is more powerful than the nectar. So like, so the nectar infused strength in the demigods, and then the feeling of betrayal infused more strength in the demons. So both of them in the shore of the milk ocean, they started fighting. So they started fighting, and the demons overpowered the demigods, and then it became completely almost the demons, because of their illusory powers, they made everything dark, and they were like completely pounding on the demigods. And the demigods did not have any means to save themselves. They were clearly overpowered. And when they were clearly overpowered, that time this particular shloka actually comes. The demigods, by nature, in this whole of Samudra Manthan pastime, we see that every time there is a problem, they always remember the Lord. That's the nature of the demigods. So they may have desire for sense gratification, they may have desire for possessing their heavenly kingdoms, and all those things they may have. But then with all the things, if there is any problem, they will naturally think of the Supreme Lord. That's the nature of the demigods. And so like they naturally remembered the Lord, and the moment they remembered the Lord entered the scene of the battlefield. And the moment he entered, all the Maya that was created by the demons, everything got distracted. Everything got disillusioned, and demigods again came back to this one. So this shloka is very nice. Tasmin pravashte, therefore, like the Supreme Lord actually, came inside. Tasmin pravashte shurakuta karmaja, asurakuta karmaja. So like Maya vinashur, mahina, mahiyasha, swapno yatahi, pratibodha agate, harismritir sarva vipada vimokshanam. So this last line is like very amazing. So devotees can easily remember harismriti sarva vipada vimokshanam. If you are there in any problem, just remember this line, harismriti sarva vipada vimokshanam. So we should just have a non-offensive remembrance of the Lord, just for the pleasure of the Lord. So then immediately the Lord appears in the mind, and he just removes all the miseries and dangers. So then another shloka, so this is 1.5.19, that says, my dear Vyasa, Narada Muni is telling, even though a devotee of the Lord Krishna sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruity workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember the ecstasy again and again. This is another nice thing. So if one sincerely and nicely engaged in devotional service, so he will again and again remember the Lord. That's the nature of the devotional service. And then finally, Lord Narsimha to Prahlad, so in 7.10.14, so he says, one who always remembers your activities and my activities, that is Prahlad's pastimes and Lord Narsimha's pastimes, one who chants the prayers you have offered, become free in due course of time, from the reactions of material activities. No, this is the amazing aspect of remembering the Lord's activities, no, Lord's pastimes. So one becomes free in due course of time from all the reactions of material activities. So with this, I pause today's discussion. So any comments, questions, no, we can take. Hare Krishna. So this was Srila Prabhupada's class. No, today we discussed all purports of Srila Prabhupada. So any questions, or if devotees have, if you relished some things in the class, some teachings of Srila Prabhupada, so you can speak about that also as well. Yes, Prabhu. It is too loud a volume, that one is. You should reduce. Oh, that is from there. Oh. Yes.
Sadhana is doable. We all can do that. But how to that vairagya or like just like
Abhyasa and Vairagya. So Vairagya means, Abhyasa means we all know Navavida Bhakti. So like, we are like requested to do the deity worship, sing Sansardava prayers, Narshima prayers, Tulsi prayers, and then chant the names of the Lord, and chant the 10 offenses and meditate on them and things like that, and Sikshashtakam prayers, and then chanting of 16 rounds and study of Bhagavatam, and like this coming to the association and things like that. So this is called Abhyasa. And Vairagya, so we are asked not to gamble, not to have illicit sex, and not to indulge in intoxication and things like that. So these are all part of Vairagya. And then like once we do this, the broader sense of Vairagya, so then we should come to more subtler sense of Vairagya. So now a plate of prasadam is presented. So then like naturally I feel like tasting it, and for my sense pleasure, not for the pleasure of the Lord, not as a service, but then tasting it for my own pleasure. So then this is next level of Vairagya that we need to practice. So then we should practice that, like the first level of practice is, so praying to the Lord, that Lord, when will I become a nice devotee where I will honor prasadam for your pleasure? No, I'm trying to do, but I'm not able to. So I'm naturally feeling to enjoy. But then, when will that day come? When I'll become a nice devotee, like where, I will, honor the prasadam for your pleasure, like that. So this is the way, like the Vairagya can be practiced. Even to do Vairagya, we need to have the support of the Lord. We need to have the grace of the Lord. So like, in the Nityananda Triyadashi, we were remembering this particular bhajan, that what is that? Gauranga bolite habe, no, Pulaka Sharira. So in that second stanza, what is that? Ar gabe nitai chander karuna hoibe samsara bashana more no kabe tuchcha habe. Right? So this is like very nice. This one, that when will Nityananda Prabhu be merciful upon me? So then I will be able to give up my sansara vasana, my desire for enjoyment of the material things, right? So this is very essential. So we offer prayers to the Lord that you give me strength, you give me a taste for your holy name, you give me a taste for your devotional service. See, ultimately we are attached to taste. We need Anandamaya Abhyasa. Every living entity wants some happiness. That is the rock bottom principle. So if we don't get taste in Krishna consciousness, naturally we will look for taste in material things, right? So we pray to Krishna, just please reveal yourself unto me. Please give me some some revelation of you, so that I will get some taste in the Krishna consciousness, so that I can give up the material taste, right? So in that way, when we offer prayers, so then we will get the Vairagya. And also this one is that natural occurrence of Vairagya, like this prayers, and then another is the rules and regulations. We should be very strict about the rules and regulations, that we discussed about the 4 regulative principles and other aspects, which are inducing us, which are inducing the enjoying tendency in the mind, so that has to be regulated, and that has to be carefully watched upon. That's how when we do these 2 things, so constantly cultivating our desire to serve the Lord and our attachment to the Lord, and constantly trying to keep away from things which are inspiring us to do material sense gratification. So these 2 things are very essential in the practice of sadhana, like that.
I do not have any question as such because I consider myself such a newbie that I have to go to the recording twice or thrice to be able to come up with meaningful questions. But I like the point that even Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are not devoid of the 9 angas of bhakti that you mentioned. The 9 angas of bhakti plus the 21 that constitute Jnana. That there and then something else with that which is
Varnashrama duties along with that.
So that is one point we might
Nice. So even if a person is a karma yogi, he should practice, even if it is for half an hour, it's okay. He should practice this remembering of the Lord and chanting the names of the Lord and things like that. So a karma yogi maybe like he can chant 1 or 2 rounds, but he should chant rounds. So that is very essential, and then he should perform austerities and penances. So other austerities and penances which are angas of jnana, duties of jnana. And then on top of it, he should also do varnashrama duties, right? So it is performed in a minuscule way. The other angas are performed minuscule. Nice. Hare Krishna. Devotees can tell their names also. I can understand this.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, this is charge is gone.
My question is that at the time of when Krishna says that Smaranam, like we have to swear Krishna, then only we can go back to the body. But other the times like we are also following Varnashram system, also following Krishna consciousness. But what happens at the time of death exactly? Like what will be the status of mind, body, and our consciousness that we will not be able to remember God?
Okay, so this point is very nice question. What will be the state of our existence at the time of death? So like Kulashekar Alvar's nice prayer is there that no, not commit suicide. No, what is that? This one starting? Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjanantam. What is the second line? Anybody remembers? So it is okay, very nice prayer. Anyways, so there he mentions that at the time of death, there is this kapavada, pitta, all these things are completely imbalanced, and the body doesn't function properly. It's just like you can imagine a very, very old bus, and if you have gone to some interiors of Mayapur and things like that, when we take tours in that area, we get some really worn out bus, and that bus, every screw is loose in that bus, and it is just making so much of wobbling sound. And then if at all I remember of this one, when we went to Ahobilam Yatra, so for going to Pavana Narshima, which is inside the forest, it's a very long journey, and some of us took the choice of going by jeep. And the jeep, is literally running only by the mercy of Lord Narsimha. So that every screw in that jeep was completely loose, and then in between the seat came out. and then I told, no, properly seat rakhna chahiye. Aise hi kaam karta hai, This is the way it functions. Just sit in the seat. We were terrified, So in the childhood, I was so much terrified by the giant wheel. In the exhibitions, sometimes this giant wheel is set up, and then I used to be terrified. One time I went, I was terrified. This Ahobilam journey was even more terrifying than sitting in the giant wheel. So the vehicle was going literally it was unimaginable journey. So like that, kapavada pitta is completely disturbed in the body, so the body doesn't function properly. So at that time, so now little bit something happens in our life, we get disturbed. So at the end of the life, it is complete wholesome disturbance of life. So that is what actually happens. And how can we remember the Lord at that time? So this is definitely a challenge. But then the important aspect is how we can actually remember the Lord at this point in time. No. So first question is like when we chant our 16 rounds, are we able to remember the Lord? Are we are able to hear the names of the Lord clearly? No. So that is something that we have to look upon. So in this connection, two important shlokas which actually helps me to have faith on the Lord and take shelter of the Lord. So one is that Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam. So like Krishna is mentioning, the Prakriti is working under my Adhyakshata. No? So like the Prakriti is working completely under the control of the Lord. And then second shloka is Daivi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameve Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So he says that this material nature, in which my mind is also a part of this material nature, it is completely, it is difficult, completely impossible for us to control. So the mind, how it is thinking, what it is thinking, like completely impossible for us to control. So it is just like Karanam Guna Sangosya, like whichever the modes of material nature that I have come in contact with, so that particular mode will infuse some kind of thoughts. If I have come in contact with mode of ignorance, my mind will have thoughts about things which are in mode of ignorance. If I have come in contact with mode of passion, so then whole my japa, I will be making plans, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year plan, which will never get executed, and things like that. And whichever mode I come in contact with, my mind gets influenced by that, and then it just thinks about it. And what control I have? No, I have literally no control over the mind. But then Krishna is mentioning Ma Mevaya Prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. So when we surrender to Krishna, this mind is your material nature. No, it's part of your material nature. How can I control it? No, but by the order of the spiritual master, by the order of Srila Prabhupada, so I'm sitting here for chanting the 16 rounds. But if not for your support, it is not at all possible for me to listen to the holy name. So taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada, taking shelter of Panchatattva and Radha and Krishna, so we should have intense prayers that I must hear the names of the Lord. So this is the order of my spiritual master, to chant attentively, but I am not able to do. Please help me, right? So in that way, like when we do that, so then what happens is the remembrance becomes, remembrance starts coming. We'll be able to focus on the names properly. So without this, it's quite difficult. So when we do this practice daily, so then at the time of death, it is a graduation actually. In the examination hall, how will I remember if the question comes? So from the day one, if you have studied the syllabus nicely, then in the examination hall you will remember. In the examination hall, how will I remember means like Bhagwan Bharose, like we kuch nahi kar sakte. So like that. So the important thing is the aspect of everyday practice. So that's why one of the aspects that was mentioned was training and regular practice, everyday practice, and accumulation of everyday practice is what going to happen in the this one, like at the point of death. So in that way, the accumulation is very important. So if every day, like you can just think, today I am not able to remember Krishna or like properly hear the names of the Lord while chanting. So then that means I have added one level of complexity to my death. At the point of death, this day is going to create some problem. So that's why we should increase the number of days where I have properly heard the holy names of the Lord. Right? Already, like probably 50% of our life we have wasted in material thoughts, and now we have come. We should not waste any day. We should try to see that we focus upon the holy names very nicely every single day. Right? Hare Krishna. Yes, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you mentioned about lack of humility will hamper your remembrance. That is something I really am struggling with. Maybe throughout the day I feel like, okay, I'm humble, but then every day or every other day there's a moment when I feel like I'm getting irritated, getting triggered by like people at home or even at the center. Somebody said something, somebody did something. So how do we like? Do you have a practical fix for how?
Yeah, we are in the same boat. So, but then there is practical solution is just as we discussed now. So like whenever we want something, in Krishna consciousness. So just before telling this, I would like to share one instance. One of my students in Gita course, she was from Mayavad background, and she was like, every time she used to argue, in the class, that no, like, no, the conclusions of Bhakti Yoga she will not accept. So, but one day, like, she told that this one aspect of Krishna consciousness I like very much, So, like, though she's trained in this one Shankara school and this one and all, like, the philosophy was like so ingrained of the Mayavad philosophy. So, but then she told this particular aspect, is very nice about this Krishna consciousness. What is that aspect? See, you people have the idea of, God is there and you are there and you take shelter of God. Anything you want, you take shelter of Him and He will fulfill. So, in the Mayavad understanding or in the impersonalist understanding, you are the same spirit. So, like, who else is there in the top to save you or help you and things like that? There's nobody is there. But then you devotees, like, all the time you say, like, no, any problem is there, you take shelter of the Lord will fulfill. Like, no, this is so nice. So, like, this one point she appreciated very much, actually. And so in that way, like, we see that, so anything that we want, we understand this particular thing is a very essential thing for me to attain. So then immediately, like, we make it as a project. And then what is the action on the project? The project action is that utterly, surrendering to the Supreme Lord. My Lord, see, like, I want to be your devotee, but this particular thing is, separating you and me. Please help me to overcome this. I'm completely dependent upon you. So I don't have any other way, to actually attain this. So please grant me this. So this is one thing that in the all of you know this Ramayana book is there, right? Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu has translated this Ramayana book like shloka by shloka. So in that introduction or preface somewhere, he actually mentions this particular thing, that when Ravana was torturing the demigods and then the people of this world, so all the demigods had gone to the Supreme Lord. They had gone to, as in the case of Krishna's pastime, in the same way. So during Lord Ram's pastime also, all the demigods had gone to the Supreme Lord and they prayed for, and they took shelter of Krishna and they prayed for relief from the Ravana's atrocities. So when they prayed for, so one nice phenomena actually happens. The Lord jumps up, with all his weapons, and then he's so jubilant. Yes, I will kill Ravana, like that. So then here, actually, Prabhu actually notes this particular point in that commentary. This actually deriving from Acharya's commentaries. So he says that the Lord is very, very happy when a living entity takes shelter of him. And he, taking shelter means it has certain aspects, like all the 6 angas of shelter. So doing things favorable to Krishna and avoiding things which are unfavorable, and then having complete confidence. He will award the desired goal. What goal I have, he will definitely award. And even whatever may be the difficulties or obstacles that may come in the path of attaining my goal, so he will remove all those things also. And then, out of, like, with great humility, like, serving the Lord and offering oneself unto the service of the Lord. So in that way, like, when a person does all the 6 angas of Sharanagati with an intense desire to attain the goal, the Lord becomes very happy. So Lord becomes very happy. Yes, I am the master. I will give you this thing. So like that, the Lord becomes very happy. And so this is a good news for us. So like, if we have anything that we want to achieve, so when we take utter shelter of the Lord and offer intense prayers to Him, so Lord is very, very happy to award. And once we start doing this transaction, literally speaking, this is the transaction of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means, like in the other yoga systems, they are trying to achieve the same thing, trying to get the mind to having a good thought and this one, some things like that and all, and by rigorous practice. So we are also doing practice, but we are more rigorous in the terms of taking shelter of the Lord, taking support of the Lord. Lord, I don't have any means. No, I'm just doing whatever has been told to me, like by Srila Prabhupada. So, but then on top of it, just by doing this, I cannot get anything I want. So I'm completely dependent upon you. Please, you give me whatever is necessary for me to become a devotee. So when we take shelter in that way, so then the other 50% of the devotional service is covered. And then we start getting reciprocations. And once we know how this transaction happens, then we will become addicted to this transaction, right? So it's very simple transaction, just utterly taking shelter of the Lord, and offering intense prayers. So that's why I used to tell that, how to test our sadhana is going very nice. So one nice critical test is, if in the course of execution of our sadhana, we are often offering intense prayers to the Lord. So that means our sadhana is going very good. So if no prayers is being offered to the Lord, that means like we are on our own. No, we are not taking support of the Lord. So if we are not taking support of the Lord, so then that means it is not bhakti yoga anymore. No, bhakti yoga means it should have this essential aspect of taking shelter of the Lord, complete dependence, for whatever we want, from the Lord, like that. Hare Krishna. So we will just recollect few points. We saw that in the process of remembrance, so training the mind to remember the Lord, effective hearing and chanting results in remembrance, and constant chanting, like Nama Anukirtanam, that also helps, and maintaining an attitude of humility and chanting our Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds diligently every day. And then all other activities also should be done with remembrance of the Lord. And by association of the devotees, we can actually develop this nice remembrance. These are all some key points that we discussed in today's session. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.